Hi everyone, this is Xander and this is my weight loss journey part 20. Before I continue, may I remind you to please watch the warning video. I cannot stress that enough. And if you haven't, please do so now before you watch this. If you have, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Okay, here we go. It was right after Christmas that someone new came to move in with us. He seemed like a really nice guy, and he came to stay for a little while. When that happened, during that time, he brought, I believe it was a PS2 and some games. That was actually good for me because a PS2 plays DVD movies. And I had a movie that I wanted to watch that I got for Christmas. And he asked me if I wanted to play any of his games, and I'm like, nah. I play fight games. He didn't have any games I was interested in playing. It's like, alright. Then I asked if I could watch the movie I got for Christmas, and he had no problems with me doing that, and I put it in the player, or he did himself, and we sat back and I watched the movie. I think that was probably one of the most peaceful times after Christmas I got to enjoy a movie. Other than the fact I've been getting yelled at for taking too long in the shower. Yep. Quite a bit. Taking too long in the shower. So, me and the family I was staying with, we all go to my adoptive dad and stepmom's house for New Year's. Now, you think we'd have a barbecue, we'd stay up, ring in the new year, watch fireworks, right? Not the case. My adoptive father had football on as usual. Nothing new. He's addicted to football like every other guy is. Me, not so much. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Why not? 'Cause I'm just not into it. Yeah, I'll watch if the Bucks are playing or if it's Super Bowl, just for the heck of it, you know. But I'm not a sports guy. Never was, never will be. So, everything's going smoothly until I had to use the restroom. I used it and there was nothing wrong. Take about 4 or 5 minutes later, I find out from one of the family members the toilet is clogged. I'm like, really? So I go to it, see if I can plunge it. Nothing's working. I did everything I could to try to fix the issue so I wouldn't have a bad day. Unfortunately, for my case, that wasn't the case. So now we have an issue. But the biggest issue is not only did the toilet get clogged up, but water started to rise up and flood all over the floor. And not only that toilet, there was the toilet in my adoptive dad and stepmom's room, and the toilet in the front of the house as you come in through the garage. All those toilets started to flood. Water all over the floor. And it got so bad that we spent most of that New Year's Eve literally drying the floor. I kid you not, we were drying the floor. Trying to dry it, that is, and more water started to overfill. We had towels on the floor. We were just at it, trying to figure out what was wrong. We all didn't know who did it, but guess what? They all started guessing it was me. Oh, it was you. We know it was you, one of the family members say. And it's just, that's all it was. It was supposedly me. Because guess what? That's what they did. They point the blame to me. You know? They did that. So just when I think I would have had a great New Year's Eve, disaster has to strike. Hours upon hours figuring out how we're going to dry the floor. Toilet stopped working, surprisingly, and it was one mess after another. Everything we tried to do, basically my adopted dad and stepmom, going on and profusely trying to plunge the toilet, taking water from the floor, throwing it in the shower to kind of eliminate all the water that's been on the floor. Water going into the woodwork, causing permanent damage. My adoptive dad furious as can be. And I tell you, this was one disaster after another. After a long, exhausting, what would be New Year's Eve, I gotta tell you, it wasn't fun at all. We didn't stay up to ring in the New Year. We didn't watch fireworks. We didn't have a barbecue. At least we had something to eat, but there was no barbecue. And by the time everything was all said and done, the only people who could use the restroom was the males in the family. Except we had to go outside, which frankly I didn't care. I went out one time. My adoptive dad went out one time. Whoever was female had to hold it, and I felt bad about that. And we went to bed. We went to sleep. I kept my mouth shut. Next morning shows up, me and the family I was staying with. We all go to the house we were staying at, my other great uncle's house who passed on. When we did, I have to say my New Year's was turning out really nice. It's just, it all went downhill, and my adoptive dad decided to bang on the door. Ahead of time, I should remind you, I asked him or probably my stepmom if they could help me return my great uncle's hat I borrowed, winter hat. He bangs on the door and he wants to see me. He doesn't let me hear the end of it. Apparently, him and my great uncle put some sort of wire hanger in the toilet and got the thing out that was clogging the toilets. And it turned out to be a roll of toilet paper. Now I remind you, I did not put a roll of toilet paper in that toilet. I didn't. He didn't let me hear the end of it. Unfortunately, I'm the one who took the blame. But I also have a feeling I was set up. I was set up. How in the world, in anyone's right mind, could they put a roll of toilet paper in the toilet? How? I ask you that question. So, he yelled at me. I had to stare at his angry face, which I didn't want to do, but unfortunately, with the military man, looked him in the eyes, are you going to get yelled at even more? So he didn't let me hear the end of it. And I ended up having to deal with that. He blamed me for the fact that not only for the toilets getting clogged and water overfilling on the floors, like flooding the floors a day before, but also because the woodwork got totaled. And that it can't be fixed and has permanent damage, and he sarcastically thanked me for it. I told him I'm sorry, and apparently to him, sorry wasn't good enough. If I had the power to fix the woodwork or have someone fix it, I would have done it ahead of time. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. So, I ended up having to bite my tongue and take the blame once again. Just like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and now New Year's. He also got on my case and told me, like, I should have returned my great uncle's hat to him on my own. Because everything to a military man, you have to do on your own. Depending on God, God wants effort before he can help you. And I'm like thinking, all right, everything needs to be on your own. Don't always ask for help, you do it on your own. But then again, he says, you know, if you don't know something, ask. But when it comes to help, don't ask. Because you should be able to do things on your own. Look where that got me. So, in a sense, I took every bit of insult, put down the man had to give me. Gave him the hat back. Thank God I didn't lose it. That would have made matters worse. And went from there. He left the house after he gave me his dose of yelling and venting and letting out his anger and giving me the angry face for, I don't know, maybe 25, 30 minutes. Maybe lesser time. And went back to where he was staying. I mean, I didn't think this was going to get that bad. I didn't even do it. I don't even know if I did or not. But I do know one thing. I don't recall putting a roll of toilet paper in the toilet. I don't. Yeah, it was a disaster. Yeah, things should have been different that New Year's Eve. We should all have been sitting around watching football while my adoptive dad did a cookout. But that didn't happen, now did it? So, from there, it was one thing after another. You'd think things would get better. Well, fortunately for that New Year's Day, things seemed like they were getting better. I was watching Grease 2, dancing to the music. My family didn't say much. She was actually happy. For once, we could have fun on a holiday. Yay, right? Yay, finally. We watched a Christmas special. That was awesome. Yay on that too. But it all boiled down to one thing. Would I take a shower within a small amount of time? Oh, I kid you not. Taking that shower would be fun and relaxing, but I had to get in and out and not use up all the hot water. Well, I took a shower, but I took a little too long. It had to be 10 minutes tops. I come out, things didn't look too good. I took too long. Now I'm getting yelled at for using up all the hot water. My gosh. Can a man get a break for once? First, it's getting blamed for what happened with the toilets at my adoptive dad's stepmom's house. Now it's getting blamed for the hot water. Look, I'm thinking, I'm sorry. I just had a hard day. You saw it. We had a fun time. Why ruin it over the shower? I hope you get hot water. I hope it's not cold water. I hope you're not mad at me. Okay? I really do. Why make a big deal about this? So I end up getting yelled at for that. After dealing with that, I basically calm down and enjoy the rest of the night, not wanting to speak at all. My fun was ruined. My holiday was ruined by getting yelled at prior that morning. And I just was at a point where I needed to get away from this family. And yeah, I was thinking about it. The devil wanted me to go ahead and kill myself just so this family can be happy without me. But the real truth was, I wanted to get away from that family. I had to get away from them. One minute everything's all nice, the next minute I'm getting yelled at for things that I don't mean to do, that I may have not have done, and it's just crazy. Why? Why did I always take the blame with this family? You know, prior to what happened on New Year's, I did some can collecting. I can collected all over the place. I have to rewind a little bit because this is one thing I forgot to mention. And I remember I went everywhere for can collecting this time, other than the neighborhood. I didn't even bring the other family member along. I did it on my own. I went to dumpsters. I went everywhere. I remember cashing in the cans and thinking as I'm walking back, why don't I go see a movie? You know, go have some fun for once. Well, unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And to my surprise, I wasn't going to be able to, because if I did, I'd get in more trouble than I already was. So I figured save the drama, save the time, and I'd be good. But in a sense, you know, I made a wise decision. So fast forward back to where we were at. That night, or maybe New Year's Eve, or beforehand, or probably that night, I was told if I don't straighten up my act, I'd have to sleep in the shed. Oh wow, right? I know. Sleeping in the shed. Who would want to sleep in it? And I was looked upon as the guy who was staying with us after yelling at him and giving him a piece of my mind because I was freaking out one day and cussing like a sailor. Yeah, live with a military man that cusses like a sailor. You start doing the same things. So much for uplifting, right? And I think I did that before New Year's, but I do recall that happening. And I was told I'd sleep in the shed if I ever pull something like that again. Yeah, better yet, keep my mouth shut about my feelings. So fast forward a little bit. Sorry, I getting my dates all screwed up. No, that's crazy, but I need to get my dates in order here. But you kind of get the drift of what happened. And I hope you do, because my times were a little screwed up, and I guess my memory was like scrambled eggs there for a moment. So, what happened was the following day, the family and the guy that was staying with us has brought to my attention that I need to make an apology to my adoptive dad. This apology would ultimately help me to finally do something right for a change. Or basically for myself, actually. So I see now it's getting a little too long with this part, and I don't want it to stop. So I'm going to end this by saying this is part 1 of part 20. Part 2 is coming up next.